Monique, how are you today?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. First off, I wanted to introduce Monique Crider. She is a native of the area, a little west of here, but she is definitely a native of our area, and she is probably one of the brightest spots and the brightest people and the most enlightening people I've ever met and worked with. So I will tell you that, Monique. I mean, I don't know if I tell you, but you just, even on a tough day, you just are encouraging. So just so you know. So, and it goes through with your clients, your friends, and everything else. But it's just been fun watching you grow your business. But what I want to do is I introduced you. Tell everybody what you do for us real quick, and then tell us about yourself, where you're from, kind of your background, because you've been an entrepreneur, you've been a whole bunch of stuff.
Yes, sir. Well, I am from Wallace area, not too far here from Wilmington, about 30 minutes up the road. Been in that area all my life. End up coming to Wilmington because my husband, he's in law enforcement, decided to move this away due to his job. I was in the beauty industry, had my own salon and day spa, so we shut it down in the Wallace area. We decided to move it here to Wilmington. We had two locations that we were working with. We end up in right off of Market Street in the Pond USA area. We was over there, decided, excuse me, to set up shop there in that area. And so I was been doing hair, probably during that time, maybe over 10, 12 years, and just decided to get into real estate. My sister did a little bit of fixing up homes, flipping homes in the Charlotte area. And I watched her earlier on, just following her in that area. So I just began to think that, I think this is something that I would like to do. It's still the same lines in the hair industry as far as the customer service, helping people, having patience with people, all that good stuff.
Okay. Well, it all does come back to people skills and relationships, doesn't it?
Yes.
And it's been so interesting to watch you grow because, I mean, you're doing, you come to us and you started your career and all this, and then you started using this. But boy, you have really taken off with your personal sphere of influence.
Yes, sir.
And that's a testament when somebody will follow you from a whole different industry to this industry.
Yes, sir. Very grateful for that.
And some very large sales, I might add.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Very large transactions. But anyway, okay, so you said you got into the real estate, you wanted to kind of convert it. And, your husband, Anthony, we love, and just know he serves as a sheriff. He's in the sheriff department.
Yes.
And he's just a wonderful person. Although he needs to quit playing basketball because
right.
He's getting too old. I know the feeling. You get broke bones. But Monique, tell me a little bit about your journey along the way from transitioning from the beauty industry, because I mean that's something where you got constant income, and when you change jobs, and especially in the real estate industry where there's no paychecks,
right.
There's a time. And did you plan a certain amount it's going to take time to get going? Or, I mean, tell us about your mindset and how you planned it, because I've always noticed you to be a methodical, very precise planner.
Yes, sir. I started, I believe it was back in August of September 2017. I was just trying to figure out which company to go with. And to be honest with you, I was in prayer about it. And I felt like that God was leading me to Remax Essential. Now I understand. Then I didn't, because I was leaning towards Keller Williams.
Mm-hmm.
But I just felt the lead to just go to Remax Essential. I was there as an independent agent, still doing hair. I think I probably did hair for about 6 months before I just decided, if this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to do. It was a leap of faith. I let my clients know that this is the area that I want to go into now. Doing hair was a toll on my body. So I knew that I had to do something different. And so we just decided to just go into that area as far as with real estate with Remax Essential. I did work as an independent agent. Things was moving a little slow, and I felt like I needed accountability. and a little bit more push and someone to help me through this process because I knew nothing about real estate. And
Mhm,
so I end up months later end up joining your team
mhm.
with the help of Alicia. I joined the team and it's just been very successful. I do remember you having those talks with me and telling me, if I want to be successful, this is what I need to do. I need to come in, plug in, get on the phones because I'm naturally quiet into myself, but I had to open up and talk and get to know people. And with that advice, some may say, well, that's nothing, but it was a lot for me. I am where I am today.
Okay, yeah, and for folks don't know, we all used to be at Remax Essential for a number of years. Great company, and they're in great hands right now. And quite honestly, in better hands than when I was there. So, because Alicia is a fabulous person to work with. But so you joined a team, and when you joined a team, let me ask you this: what was the things? What made you think I need to join a team other than I need a little bit more? I assume it was the leads, people to call, and I guess closer mentorship versus more classroom training. Would you agree with that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
One thing here on the team, I remember you guys telling us that we're going to learn things hands on, being out, dealing with clients, dealing with buyers and sellers. We can be behind the scene training in classrooms, but you're really going to get it doing it hands on.
Hmm.
And that's what made the difference for me, doing it hands on, listening to other agents here in the office, listening to their conversations. We're just gathering together in a huddle, talking out the differences that we may have with different transactions and how we can help each other, and just having someone there to lean on to help you through those situations.
I found that that's invaluable. I mean, you see the world has moved in the last 2 years or so through COVID, and we've gone to this world where remote work and all this kind of stuff. But I find it interesting that our top agents, like yourself, they still come to the office.
Yes, sir.
I mean, and I get that there's a few, unicorns out there that can really do it without being around it. But I know I get a lot from being around because I hear deals and I hear problems, I hear successes. I mean, that's what this is about. I mean, would
Right.
you agree? That's where the real learning happens.
Yes, sir. Definitely. And you can just learn so much from just being in the office, being around other agents, and just getting that's to me, that's just so valuable to me, just hearing different conversations, and you can just learn so much from that.
Well, what do you say to those people? Because the industry and the world is pushing to remote. You don't need physical offices anymore, which that's not our concept. But I mean,
Right.
because there's a lot of agents out there, Monique, and you see it, that, and you have friends that are what I mean. They're struggling. There's even in the last 2 years when things were just kind of falling out of the sky, they were still struggling.
Right.
And what we're going through now and going to go through, if you don't have a good system and good discipline and time management and a good source of people to talk to, leads or whatever, it's gonna be tough for people. Would you agree?
I do. I do agree. And that's one of the reasons why I chose to stick on this team is because we have the atmosphere here that we're not competing against each other. It's
Mhm.
about building each other, it's about helping each other, being there for one another. I can say, whenever I was battling with breast cancer in 2020, when the pandemic first happened, to have the work family that I have here help me push through those tough times.
Well, you brought that up because I didn't want to bring it up, but I got to tell you, and for people that don't know your situation, and you're a very private person, but you brought it up. I mean, you right as COVID hit. I mean, we had literally the COVID hit. We had left the Remax situation, opened up Waypost Realty,
Right.
moved right in, and then a month later, COVID hit, and then you
Yeah.
found out you had breast cancer,
Yes, sir.
and you had to go through a whole lot of stuff. So, I mean, all of a sudden, I mean, your whole world was thrown upside
Yes.
down.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But but you did an amazing job. And I'll tell you why, because a lot of your customers didn't know, and a lot of our agents didn't know the links of which you were battling.
Right.
Because
Right.
you weren't out showing property and doing those things, but you were still churning your business pipeline.
Yes, sir.
And when you came back, I mean, you're on pace for your best year ever now, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Very
Yeah.
grateful.
And you had a good year last year, considering the amount of time you were able to put into it. So, I mean, I am just in awe of you, because you do bring that positive attitude. I mean, it's easy to get down in that situation
Right.
and just feel like I got no hope.
Right.
But I mean, you made my problems feel very insignificant for what you were going through, and you inspired me. I'm like, okay, if she can do this, why can't I do at least this? You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Understand.
And yeah, and just, it was just, and then in the midst of it, I mean, God was blessing you. You built a new house, your dream
Yes.
house, you and Anthony. You sold your house. Now,
Yes.
if like me, if we'd have sold it a few years later, we'd have done better. But we'd have also paid a lot more for what we got.
Right. Exactly.
But we were able to get good interest rates and things like that. I mean, all through this, you still had this stuff going on.
Yes, sir.
And for people that don't have those challenges, to not do it is so frustrating to me. I mean, do you know what I'm talking about? I mean, you've seen it. We bring in agents, new agents, existing agents, and we train them and we train them. And at the end of the day, you can train somebody till they're blue in the face. You can give them every word to say. You can lay everything out. But if they don't pick up the phone and build relationships with people, people don't want to do business with them.
Right. And I feel like in this business, consistency is the key. You have to be consistent. You may not get anyone to pick up the phones, or you may go to a home and to tour home with the buyer. The buyer don't come up, but you have to get right back at it. You have to encourage yourself and be consistent in this business.
And it's funny. I remember, Monic, you probably had some of the roughest transactions at the beginning of your career with us. I mean, it was like, I felt like it was foreclosure after foreclosure,
Right.
after short sale
Right.
after foreclosure. Or, and you not specialize, but you do a lot of business in the rural areas, like the Wallace areas. Am I right?
Yes.
Curry. I mean, Burgaw, you love that areas because that's home to you.
Right.
And you have become kind of the specialist out there. And
Yes, sir.
I mean, but you'll go out there in today's world for $100,000 property, just as quick as you will for $1 million property.
Exactly. I understand that everybody's situation is different, and everybody's finances is different. And some people can't afford what others can't afford, and vice versa. So I look at myself as being that agent first, to be grateful that I'm able to work with the buyer no matter what the price point is, but at the same time being there to help them, because maybe 2-3 years down the road, they can probably afford something different that they couldn't afford with their first home.
Right. Exactly. All right. So, I mean, we're all in this shifting market, but we all realize if you work hard, there's more for all of us, because
Right.
there's a lot of people that just aren't going to work hard. And so if you were talking to a buyer on the phone right now and they're like, man, I don't know what to do, I'm indecisive, what would your advice be to a buyer in this market right now?
My advice will be, if they're in the market to purchase a home, to me, this is still a good time to purchase. I know some of interest rates right now is scaring some buyers, but this is still a good time to purchase a home. I will have that buyer to just make sure that they have all their things in a row as far as getting in contact with the lender, and not lenders that's not familiar with this area. Not trying to discredit any lenders, but it's very important to work with someone that's familiar with whatever area that you're purchasing in, that they know that area. And also,
do you mind if I interrupt real quick?
Sure.
Consumers don't get that.
Right.
They don't understand that. But when you got a problem, you got to be able to have somebody to call that's going to be accountable. And it's just not that way with some, certainly with the internet lenders. And the junk fees now, to be able to quote lower rates, the junk fees and the back end fees that they're throwing in is just unbelievable.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, all right. So, what about? I mean, is there a reason not to buy in this market right now? I mean, do you know? Because we do have people that are like, I'm going to wait and see if these interest rates calm down, or maybe prices are going to come down. And tell me what your thoughts are around that.
I think prices may come down. I think the tables may turn some. With new construction, I don't really foresee that too much. It just depends on what the buyer is looking for, whether if it's a resale or new construction. But I do feel like that things are going to turn. It may not be turning as fast as some may think. In certain price points, we know that it's still very competitive, and maybe you can say 100,000 to 300,000, maybe up to $400,000.
Mm-hmm.
It's still very competitive in that certain price range. When you get, I said over 500,000, it may be a little bit slow. But if you do have a price point in the lower end of the spectrum, is still very competitive. And especially here in this area, people are still seeking to come to the Wilmington and the surrounding area.
Yeah, that is one thing I remember that gave us hope through 06, 07, and then the years before in 2000, the other shifts that we went through. Yeah, I can just always remember, the good news for our area, and we're very blessed because
Yes.
there's never been a shortage of people wanting to be here. There's been trying times for people being able to sell so they can get here, and everybody says, oh, our sales are still doing good. I mean, sales have slowed here. Inventory is still tight, but the big thing for us, the leading indicator, has always been what's going on in New Jersey, what's going on in New York, what's
Right.
going on in Ohio, some of these areas, because when their sales start to slow, that's going to affect us. Now, it's not going to stop the demand for them to be here. It's just they're going to have to wait until they can make that move.
Right.
So. But okay,
Exactly.
all right. So, all right, let's flip the table a little bit.
Okay.
I know you're working with a good number of sellers now.
Yes.
And the sellers that work with you just love you because you have the knack of delivering unpleasant news so nicely. Because it's not always pleasant news when you're in real estate.
Right.
Sometimes you need to hear something you don't want to hear.
Right.
But, so for sellers now, what would you tell a seller now? Because it's not like it was 4 months ago. You get 23 offers on a property,
right,
on every property. So what's your conversation to a seller now like? I mean, what are you thinking on that?
Some just what probably echo some what Tyler had said earlier. You do have to before you can just put your home on the market, you probably get maybe 5 to 10 offers, maybe the first 2 days. But right now, I know a seller that I've been working with. We haven't too long went under contract. We had to do some work. We had to make sure that the home was clean. Not that it wasn't clean, but it was professionally clean, like a deep clean. We had to make sure that the home was staged right. There are certain things that we're having to do now. A couple of months ago, we didn't have to do. So it is some upfront work that the sellers are going to have to do if their home is in certain circumstances, as far as they may need some TLC, some paint, yard work, landscaping, different things like that that sellers will probably have to do up front where they didn't have to do before.
Yeah, we're seeing the same thing. And we've had a couple of circumstances. I don't know if you're aware of it. Agents have come to me and little things like, hey, man, if they would just paint the house, redo the carpet, pressure wash it, and do all these things now, because the people have a lot of equity in the house, but they have no money.
Right.
But if they had the capability to spend $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, they could get 40,000 more.
Exactly.
And we have been willing on limited basis, depending on the situation, depending on their equity, and quite honestly, how kind they are. and yoked well with us, they are, if that makes sense.
Yes.
I mean, we've stepped in and paid and organized to have that done, and then we get reimbursed at closing in addition to our commission, of course, but we get it back, but it enables them to make a lot more money. I mean, these are some of the things. We don't advertise this because I'm not going to go in and remodel everybody in town's house.
Understand.
But for people that really have a need, and we can see that, especially down in that $200,000-300,000 range, I mean, it's easy to spend $10,000 just to get it to show well and get 50 more.
Right.
And get multiple offers. Would you agree with that?
I do agree. Yes, sir.
So, I mean, that is something that we've been able to do on a limited basis. And I think you're going to see more of that from good agents that are going to be able to do it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, that's when you're really starting to think about your client, I think. Now, obviously, we have to wrap it in. There has to be a lot of legalese just to make sure that everybody does what they're supposed to do, because sometimes they don't. But we've never been burnt by it. Now, so sellers have, they're probably not going to get the crazy kind of prices that they might have gotten. When I say prices, that doesn't mean the price gone down. It just quit going up. Quite so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to buy a house you bought last year for 400 probably isn't going to sell for 800 now. So, I mean, some things did happen like that. Okay.
Yes.
We've talked about the buyer. We've talked about the seller. What about, Monique, and you know there's some out there, as I do, there's real estate agents out there that are in the business that have not been able to get off the ground in the last year or two the way they need to. And if you're not doing it, if you've been in the business for a couple of years in this area and you didn't make, I'm sorry, if you weren't selling 10, 15, 20 houses, you're going to really struggle. Yes. Okay. If you couldn't do it then, going into what we're going to go into now, because more of the business is going to go to the teams, companies, agents with the most experience and the most systems, and who's still has a consistent plan for marketing and things like that. And not everybody's going to be able to do that. So you're going to have more, I mean, just like last time, 80% of the people that stayed in the business made 20% more money, but because 20% fell out of agents. So what would you say to those agents that are already struggling? I mean, they're not even making as much as they could go get a job at Walmart. Okay. What would you say to them, what they should be doing differently where they're at? Sometimes they just stay where they're at and do it. Or what do you think they should be looking for? And I don't mean this for us, just in general, what should somebody be looking for in a place to make sure they're in the right culture? Because I'm a big believer that you're only going to be as good as the people that you're surrounded with.
Exactly.
I don't mean the name you're surrounded with, but the people that's right there on a daily basis with you.
Right. Yes, I will definitely encourage those agents to, if they're not in that place, that workplace that can help them, they probably want to seek an agency, a team that can push them and help them in the right direction. But at the same time, I will encourage them that they have to plug into the systems. They have to make those calls. Like you tell us, it's not something fun that you want to do, but it will help you. If you make those calls, you're going to get those results. I will definitely encourage them to do personal touches as far as handwritten cards, stand in contact. We can text, we can send out cards, but sometimes if you have different buyers and sellers that you have sold to in the past, just going by to just say hello, or picking up the phone and just saying hello without selling anything to them. You will be surprised. That will go a long ways with them, and supporting them in different things that their families or different loved ones may be going through. But as far as the business itself, you definitely have to plug in, not only during good days, good times, but in the difficult times as well. I think that's really what's going to really help us in this next phase that we're going to enter into.
You know, I remember when the COVID hit, I can remember we were all sitting here and the governor started shutting down things, and we're like, oh, we all got to go get meat over. All of us walked over to the food line and started grabbing food.
Yeah.
But we didn't know where the bottom was going to be. You know, we thought the industry, who knew it would have went crazy. But I will tell you, the conversations that we were having in our huddles and our weekly meetings and things was, right now, people are stressed and they're freaked out. The calls that we make now may not sell a house or may not get a listing, but our goal right now is to be a light in somebody's life.
Right.
And I think that still applies. And I think it's going to apply even more as we move into, the months and maybe a couple years ahead. I think people appreciate that. Like little things. I mean, you have been, Aaron does the mail
Yes.
sales.
Yes.
You have been prolific in sending those out. Something different. And you are not shy about your faith, nor am I. But in this world, we're supposed to hold behind it and not say anything about it. I mean, we don't sit there, we don't preach to people, but we do try to exemplify being kind and caring, and we're not the judge or the jury.
Right.
So our job is to just love and help.
That's
But
it.
but you are not shy about any of that, and you allow yourself to be vulnerable with all of your clients that you speak with.
Yes.
I mean, you are just very straightforward and honest. And I've seen you tell people things that they don't want to hear, and they walk away because it's not what they wanted to hear. Because sometimes buying a house is not a good thing for some people.
Right.
It's going to break them. Or I can think of one client that calls here about 1 or 2 times every other month or two. Wonderful person, but when they've got a mortgage payment of $800 a month on a nice, good house, and to sell that, they don't have that much equity in it, even with the appraisals, to go and it would be so easy to get this person to sign a listing agreement and sell it and make our quick money.
Right.
But the issue is, and I've seen you deal with things just like this, the other side of this thing is it would be the absolute worst thing forever, because they would cost twice as much to rent, and this situation will never have the opportunity to buy again.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's hard to do with some people, because there's another agent that'll slide in and just list the property.
Exactly.
So, okay. So that's the advice on that. So tell me what you and Anthony like to do for fun. Tell us some interesting things about yourself that we may or may not know that you're open to sharing.
Well, here lately, think we've been in our home a year now. I believe June the 22nd made a year. So we definitely love biking in our neighborhood in different areas. And we're getting into this thing now where we're beginning to play tennis.
Oh,
And just spending time with our family and friends. Like I said earlier, whenever I went through the breast cancer journey, that really opened up my eyes to a lot, and just be intentional with family and friends and loved ones and loving on each other and just being there for people. But we definitely have this new thing with biking and playing tennis and certain things like that.
that's awesome, Monique. I want to reiterate what a pleasure it is. I mean, you've been through us. We've morphed a few things. We've gone from Remax to Waypost to a really quick brunt with EXP, but that didn't last. And I apologize for that again, by the way. But we've also been morphing from just a pure normal team into more of a brokerage.
Right.
I mean, you're doing as many or more deals of your own deals now than you are team deals. Which enables you to get more split and keep more money and things like that. And a lot of people don't realize that we've made that more, that we're making that transition slowly, because I'm not a spring chicken anymore. I can't go do all the deals, and other people helped me grow my business years ago. And I really like helping people. And it is easy, Monique, to like working with you and around you, just so you know. I mean, you are loved and cared for at our office and beyond more than you possibly know. So,
thank you.
So, anything else you'd like to share?
No, sir. It's just a pleasure with being here at Waypost Realty. I've learned so much with working alongside not only you, but the agents here at this office. And I am just so grateful for this opportunity.
Well, you are most welcome, and you are always welcome. So now just know you're going to get recruiting calls now, more than you already do. Oh, by the way. So, and we're not scared of that. Okay.
Right. Yeah,
If it happens and if there's a better place out in the horizon, we never want to hold anybody back. We just want to make
understand.
sure that there's good information and they're getting, not just sold a bill of goods, because there's a lot of great opportunities, but we don't want to lose you, Monique. So,
Understand.
all right. Well, thank you for your time today. And thanks for everybody. You had a good number of people watching and commenting and things, Monique. So great job. And if you want to learn more about Monique, you can go to our website and just look up the agents, waypostrealty.com or buddyblake.com. And you'll actually see a replay of this. But feel free to reach out. I've got her number and her email below. She can be reached at either one of those. And if you need to reach me, there's my information. But other than that, that's it. Monique, have a great day. And by the way, can you beat Anthony in tennis yet?
Not yet.
Okay. I know it's
I'm working on it.
He's going to fall like he did in basketball. Or he's going to break something. So, all right. Take care, Monique. Thank you.
Thank you.